because a student in your class is performing a trick. They'll study 90% less, sleep 70% more, and still outscore everyone. And people will whisper, how are they just naturally smart? Here's their secret. It's not genetics. It's a calculated hack, so stupidly efficient it should be illegal. By the end of this video, you'll know it. This is how to study so little that people think you're a genius. Let's autopsy your failure, because your struggle isn't a lack of effort. It's a betrayal by the very system you trusted. You were taught that success is a straight line. More hours, plus more books, better grades. It's a lie. A lie that keeps you running on a hamster wheel of highlighters, all-nighters, and anxiety. Think about your last study session. You opened the textbook, highlighted what felt important, reread your notes, and hoped it would stick. It's like throwing spaghetti at the brain and praying it clings. But here's the violent truth your teachers won't tell you. Passive consumption creates the illusion of learning. Highlighting, that's just decorating. Rereading, that's just recognition, not recall. Cramming, that's intellectual bulimia. You binge information, only to purge it 48 hours later. Your brain doesn't learn by soaking information. It learns by struggling to retrieve it. The pain of trying to remember, the friction of forcing a concept out of thin air. That's the signal that builds permanent knowledge. But the entire academic world is designed for comfort, not friction, which is why you can study for 8 hours and remember less than someone who worked strategically for 90 minutes. You've been playing checkers, while the lazy genius plays chess. They're not working harder. They've simply identified the 3 pillars of efficient learning that make 80% of your study time completely redundant. And the first pillar is about to change everything you know about memory. But before I show you that, I need to know something. If you've ever felt the rage of studying for days, only to blank on the test, type broken system in the comments right now. You cannot outwork a broken strategy. So step 1 is to stop consuming and start surgically extracting. The lazy genius doesn't read the chapter. They interrogate it. Before they read a single paragraph, they perform a 5-minute triage. Read the summary, scan the headings, look at the practice questions. They're asking one brutal question. What is the single core framework here? Every subject, whether it's organic chemistry or 19th century literature, is built on a scaffolding of 1 to 3 fundamental models. Everything else is just decoration, example, or proof. Your job is to find that scaffold, not memorize the paint. Here's your tactical drill. Take a blank page, write the chapter title. Now give yourself 20 minutes to read. Your mission is to leave with only 5 bullet points on that page. The 5 atomic concepts that, if understood, make the rest of the details fall into place. This is the 20-80 principle applied to learning. 20% of the concepts create 80% of the understanding. You'll feel resistance. Your brain will scream, but what about this detail? What about that example? Ignore it. You are not an archivist collecting facts. You are a detective building a case. The lazy genius thrives on this constraint because they know clarity emerges from ruthless elimination. This is why they can skip classes, skim textbooks, and still dominate. They're not absorbing more data. They're identifying the load-bearing ideas. And once that structure is built, every new fact has a home to click into. Without it, you're just piling loose bricks. But knowing what to learn is only half the battle. The real magic, the part that feels like a superpower, happens in how you cement it. And the method for that is so counterintuitive, it feels like you're breaking the rules of your own mind. This is the moment that separates the average student from the academic illusionist. You've identified the core concepts. Now you must weaponize the single most potent learning phenomenon 99% of students never use, the testing effect. Science is clear. The act of trying to remember information builds stronger neural pathways than the act of reviewing it. Every time you force your brain to retrieve a fact from the void, you're doing the mental equivalent of weightlifting. You're not studying, you're training. The lazy genius doesn't reread their beautiful notes. They close the notebook and explain the concept out loud from memory, as if teaching a confused child. The moment they stammer, the moment they can't connect point A to point B, they've found a crack in their understanding. That crack is gold. That's the exact moment real learning is triggered. Your new ritual. After your 20-minute strategic ingestion, you get 10 minutes of retrieval. No notes, no peeking, just you, the blank page, and the pressure to reconstruct the framework from your mind. This will feel terrible. It will feel inefficient. Good. That's how you know it's working. Comfort is the enemy of competence. To make this lethal, combine it with the Feynman technique. Name a concept. Now explain it in the simplest language possible. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. The lazy genius uses this as a filter. If a concept survives this gauntlet, it's mastered. If it crumbles, it goes back for another round. This is why they can study in 90-minute bursts and retain more than you do in 6-hour marathons. They're not accumulating hours. They're engineering moments of productive struggle. They trade the shallow satisfaction of covering material for the deep, permanent etch of mastery. Now you have the system, strategic ingestion followed by brutal retrieval. But there is one final critical piece, a timing hack that leverages your brain's natural decay curve to make forgetting almost impossible. And it requires you to do something that feels like sabotage. The laziest part of the genius method is this. You must stop reviewing what you already know. Your instinct is to review everything, repeatedly, until it's perfect. That's how you waste 60% of your study time. The lazy genius uses a merciless algorithm called spaced repetition. They only review information at the precise moment their brain is about to forget it. Think of memory like a campfire. Traditional studying is dumping gasoline on a roaring flame, wasteful and dangerous. Spaced repetition is adding a single log exactly as the flame starts to dim. Maximal effect, minimal effort. Here's your new law. After you conquer a concept through retrieval, you schedule 3 strategic reviews. Review 1 24 hours later, a 5-minute quick recall. Review 2.7 days later, a 3-minute mental quiz. Review 30 days later, a 2-minute checkpoint. That's it. These tiny spaced engagements signal to your brain, this is important, keep it. They combat the forgetting curve and transfer knowledge from your temporary holding cell into your permanent library. The beautiful result? When the final exam arrives, you're not relearning, you're reactivating. You walk into that hall while others are pale, sleep-deprived, and frantically flipping through a semester's notes. You're calm. You have, quite literally, done the math on your own memory. You've turned your brain into a predictably efficient machine. This trifecta, strategic ingestion, the retrieval engine, and strategic abandonment, forms a closed loop. It's a self-reinforcing system that compounds over time. Each exam becomes easier, not harder, because you're building on a solid foundation, not a pile of loose facts. This isn't just a study method, it's an identity overhaul. Every time you choose a 90-minute focused sprint over a 6-hour distracted marathon, you're not just studying smarter, you are casting a vote for a new identity. You are becoming the person who values precision over pain, leverage over labor, and results over rituals. The goal is not to get an A. The goal is to become the kind of person for whom an A is the natural byproduct of a superior system. The kind of person who has time for passions, for relationships, for a life outside the library, while performing at an elite level. The next 5 years are coming. You will either be the student who mastered the system or the student the system mastered. You will either have a transcript that opens doors or a story about potential that never materialized. The hinge that swings this door isn't a 2 a.m. cram session. It's the deliberate, consistent application of a method that respects how your brain actually works. But this system demands one non-negotiable ingredient, the discipline to start before you feel ready. And if that feels like the final barrier, then you need to see your next move. Because I've created a follow-up video that breaks down a simple 3-step neurological hack that wires your brain to crave discipline. It makes starting your lazy genius session feel automatic, not like a chore, but like the obvious next step. To build a complete system, the genius method for your work, and the addicted discipline for your habits, the next video is waiting for you on the screen right now. Let's finish building the future you keep imagining.